Chubby Bunnies. Pitudos. Chubby Bunnies. Pitudos pick. Chubby Bunnies. Chubby Bunnies ban. Ten seconds, Chubby Bunnies. Pitudos span. Pitudos pick. Chubby Bunnies, 2 picks. Ten seconds. Ten seconds, Chubby Bunnies. 5 seconds. And Pitudos last pick. All right, we have a Lorelei to round out the draft.
It is interesting that Blackfeather is the only melee hero in this whole game. It's going to be much of a poke fest. You have the likes of Lyra, Gwen, and then you have Lorelei, Kestrel, and then of course Blackfeather. So I feel like I think both drafts are relatively good, and it's really gonna depend on the late game when you see the Gwen, you see the Blackfeather start to really pop off. That is when it's gonna matter most.
Where do you think the Blackfeather and Kestrel are going to go?
Um, Honestly, the way they've picked it, I think is pretty well because they can both be flexed into lane and the jungle. Uh, it is entirely up to them, but I think that it could be, yeah, it could just be a Kestrel lane weapon.
Yeah, I was sort of expecting the Kestrel kind of has to go to lane just because of the Petal pick. Petal is just a hard counter to Kestrel, and Blackfeather it's still tough, but maybe does marginally better than Kestrel does into that Petal and jungle.
Yep, I have to say that early game, right? Petal is decent. She's not the strongest. So she gets much stronger at level 6. And also Gwen, she's not that strong at level 1 compared to a Kestrel. So I'd give the early game to Pitudos. If they can land a good stun with Lorelei and get some good glimmer shots off, then I think that Pitudos will have much more strength in the early game.
Yeah, that's right. I agree with you, Gumpy. There. Where do you think I feel that one really critical thing is how quickly the side of Pitudos is going to be able to get mortal wounds. That Petal and the Lyra, that's just a massive healing on their side.
Yep, indeed. And I think that it's really going to come out to positioning. And also, when you have a Lorelei, right, you with the stun and you have a Blackfeather, it's really key to play as a team and play around those Lorelei fish foods. Because if you can catch somebody out, perhaps the Petal or the Lyra, and then the Blackfeather can get onto that person, I think that they have pretty good synergy with their comp.
Okay. Well, let's just see if we can pop in. It looks like the teams are still just queuing up, so we're gonna get into game as soon as the teams can find the games. We're gonna watch those. Let's just make sure, double check everyone has their right codes. But we will be getting into game into just a minute. So, Gumpy, who do you think is gonna take this series? We have our tournament winners versus the Chubby Bunnies. What are you expecting to see here?
Honestly, I think that the game, at least for the first part, is in Pitudo's hands. They have the slightly better early game and mid game draft, although the Blackfeather is not the strongest. But I think it's really going to come down to the team core, like just micro, because I think both teams, they're pretty good at macro. They understand how the game is played, and their draft is also relatively even on both sides. So whichever team can get ahead, if somebody gets ahead, and then if they can keep that going, I think they will be the one.
Well, all right. We're just gonna have to wait and see what ends up happening there, Gumpy. It looks like the teams have gone through the in-game draft. This is exciting, Gumpy. I'm expecting this to be a really great series. Pitudos, we all know what they can do, and the Chubby Bunnies, this is a team of old pros. Some of them have world stage experience. I'm just expecting this to be a great series all around.
Yep, I have to say, like honestly, this game right now, it doesn't really seem like a big draft diff at all. I think both teams are relatively strong on both sides. And I think that makes the best matches when you don't really know who's gonna win, even based on draft.
Yeah, absolutely, Gumpy. Well, I think we're all just excited, and I'm salivating, waiting for these guys to just get into game. We're just gonna have it just a couple of seconds. So, what do you expect to see? Are they going to contest the center tree, and who's gonna try to go for that in the very early game? You think Pitudos is maybe a little bit stronger there?
Yeah, definitely. The Kestrel with her glimmer shots, she's just so much stronger than the Gwen on the side of the Enzio. Like she can't keep up with those glimmer shots. The range, the damage. The Lyra and the Petal, they might do something, which is probably why they want to contest the Elder Treant. But I think likewise Pitudos will be very confident in their level 1. We'll see if they fight for the Elder Treant.
Okay, well, we do see 2 Stormguard banners on the side of the Chubby Bunnies, and it looks like everybody's here, so they're all kind of making the same rotation. Now, the Chubby Bunnies have started the center treant. They've hit it, and the goes to Neon there on that pedal. So that's going to help Neon get a little bit quicker to that level 2. And as you said, Gumpy, level 6 pedal is where you really have to start to fear her.
Yep, definitely. It is very good that they went 2 banners, and they understand that clearing the Elder Treant really fast is what they needed before Pitudos could react. And that's why they were ultimately able to secure the Elder Treant, which is a nice little bit of experience boost to the pedal.
Yeah. So what do you expect to see in these first couple of rotations, and then even moving into the early mid game? What are the heroes that we're going to have to focus on? What are the abilities that are going to make the biggest differences before everyone hits level 6?
Well, I think Kestrel, of course, she has a lot of pressure with those glimmer shots, but the lane is pushed to her side, so she will be slightly under pressure, as we can see here. This is just a nice little bit of trading going on from the side of Chubby Bunnies. We already see the pedal being aggressive. We know the Black Feather is not that strong early game. He, especially with his melee, is weak on points, and there we go. He's just taking a lot of trades. That is not preferred.
Yeah, well, this is kind of what we saw yesterday from the side of Chubby Bunnies. Their understanding of macro and how to lane management from side of D'Enzio, where he's able to, against a Kestrel, just push that lane in exactly at the right time to move down and rotate as an entire team to that center Treant.
Right, here we go. We see D'Enzio rotating down, sharing the ambient, even taking it. That is up to him. Very good. The Gwen always scales really nicely into the late game anyway. And this is good. You see the wave is pushed to the enemy side, so it just makes sense to get a little bit of ambient, a little bit of experience boost on the side of Zio. So for now, everybody is just trying to farm, not too much pressure going on.
And it
either
looks
side.
like what has happened is the Kestrel, we have an early AFK. Perhaps that's why there's absolutely no lane pressure going on. Yeah, so Kestrel's just standing there in lane in AFK. That's going to be really, really bad for the side of Pitudos, because Chubby Bunnies are just going to completely take advantage of this and move out, sweep through the jungle. They're taking free lane, free jungle, and even if she comes back, we're probably just going to see a giant gold difference. This is something you really hate to see.
Yeah, especially I'm not sure if we can actually do a restart on this one. Well, we'll have to see how long it takes for the Kestrel to come back. Hopefully very soon.
Yeah, I mean they did get through the first rotation before that happened. I don't think that we can restart this one at this point, unfortunately. You know, players, we can do a restart if nothing has happened in the game yet, but yeah, that's just really unfortunate.
Well, I think the first turret is going to go down here. There we go. I think the Kestrel's moving again. Yes, I think she's back. That is some good news. But also, I think now that's going to be a level advantage. We see D'Enzio already being level 5, and that is going to be a problem later on once Gwen starts to scale.
Yeah, she seems to be about a level ahead. Kestrel just got level 5 and D'Enzio just got level 6, so it's almost a whole level. I mean, the one good thing, if there is a good thing, Kestrel at least did AFK right next to her turret, so she was getting a lot of the experience as those minions died under turret. We're going to have to see how big of a goal difference this made. I hope that isn't too much of an impact on the game, but now losing all that map pressure, losing that ability to shop in the mid shop, this game just got a whole lot harder to win.
Gwen coming in with the aces high, but it doesn't connect, sadly, but that is still a good engage. The pedal, look at that, level 6. Huge damage coming out.
Yeah, and we receive a really good portal coming in from the side of the Lyra. That arcane passage was just beautifully placed, and it helps the pedal go through and kill one of the side of the Pitudos. So this just that Kestrel AFKing for about that minute and a half there in the middle of the game. This is already a 4K difference at 5 minutes.
Yep, looking really well for Chubby Bunnies. I think at this point, with the Kestrel being so far behind, the Black Feather has to be the win condition when it comes to the later game. First turret being down as well, so that is a lot of map presence and also map pressure that is in favor of Chubby Bunnies.
Yeah,
so everything going for them as well.
Yeah, that being said, the game is not over yet. Like you said, the Black Feather is one of those heroes that can come online, and well-placed stuns from the Lorelei, right? If she's placing good fish foods and good splashdowns, she can make such a huge difference, especially as we kind of move a little bit later on into the game. So I think there's still a lot that the side of the Pitudos can do here. We're still fairly early in the game. There's a lot of time to come back. It only takes 1 or 2 mistakes and some of those shutdown that you can get to turn the entire game around.
Yep, indeed. So here we see the gold miner being taken. That is pretty much free because of the gold difference that it is, and also because I think that is the correct decision from both teams, not to engage and also just to take it when you have the upper hand.
Yep. And that's going to be about 1,000 more goals, so that's probably going to bring the gold lead up to around 5,000 now for the side of Chubby Bunnies. If it gets too much bigger, and there we go, we see a huge aces high come through from the Gwen. It does land onto the Black Feather, and he gets stunned out, but he's able to back out. Now they're doing a deep dive underneath the turret. Everybody's low. The Lorelei got super low on this side of the Pitudos as well. It looks like this dive is continuing. We're having a streams kind of popping in and out, but here we go. Now we're back into it. It looks like nobody actually ends up dying, so the aces high might have been a little bit of a waste. D'Anzio was trying to use up just the last little bit of the infusion that he had bought 2 levels ago, but he doesn't get anything out of it at that time.
Well, if we look at the CSing, it is for D'Anzio, that is 57 CS in around 7 minutes. That is pretty well done. I think it could be a little bit better, but I think also that what he's doing is just fine. And it's always good to have a laner that CSs really well at all times. And at this point, we see the Black Feather. We see him also just take his own jungle. And this is the win condition. He's at level 7. Once he gets to level 8, that on-point overdrive is going to be immense for him, as he just reaches it right now. And I think they still have a chance. Pitudos, that Black Feather, he can carry the game if given enough time.
Yep, that's exactly right. And at that CP Blackfeather, and there we go. A huge fish food lands directly onto Petal, but the Lyra is there just with her just to heal everybody up. So they're all back to full health. Petal is just throwing out a spontaneous combustion with her Bramble Bloom seeds. Blackfeather decides to just kind of walk into one of those, and you have to pay attention to the seeds on the ground because those can do a lot of unexpected damage if maybe you don't see them and they're kind of hidden in among those minions.
Yep, indeed. So now we see again a rotation down. Maybe a gold miner might be soon on the board for either team. We see a little bit more confidence from Pitudos. We see that they just want to take their stuff. But perhaps we see another gold miner. We're getting it taken. I'm not sure what the gold difference is, but nonetheless, Pitudos might want to go for a steal with the Lorelei.
Well, it looks like they're just putting a little bit of map presence. Another Aces High comes out and lands onto the Lorelei. The Lorelei has to use the water wall on herself in order to get away. An Arcane Passage comes through from the Lyra, and there they go. It looks like they're trying to engage on the side of Pitudos, but D'Anzio decides to walk down a little bit lower in the map for some reason. Everybody just disengages. The side of the Chubby Bunnies does end up getting that gold miner. And the Pitudos, good thing is that nobody died there, but they did have to burn a whole lot of stuff just to keep the Lorelei alive.
Yeah, and also D'Anzio might be a little bit taking a little bit more damage than he would have wanted to in that engage. But it's great for him to take the initiative. He really wants to get those kills. He wants to clean this out. But we can also see the Lorelei starting to come online post level 8. The pools doing a huge amount of slow that will be even with the cleanse of the Gwen, it'll be really annoying to play against.
Yeah, that's right. As we all know, Gwen does have that skedaddle built into her kit. It's almost like having a reflex block built into your kit. Now, you do still take full damage when Gwen uses her skedaddle, but it will help you get out of any stuns. And those Lorelei stuns, that fish food can be upwards of a 2-second stun at full when it's leveled up.
Well, here we see a little bit of the Petal, throwing her ultimates out, a very good damage. She counters Kestrel immensely with her minions.
And there we go. And Aces High comes out. Gwen is just trying to focus in on the Blackfeather. He understands that Blackfeather is the win condition for the side of Pitudos and trying to poke him down. But again, the side of Pitudos, even though they're playing from behind, they're not really making any mistakes. The only big mistake that was made so far was the Kestrel just going AFK. And besides that, I don't even know if there have been any deaths on this side of Pitudos since that's happened.
Nope, it's still 2-0. It is a fairly passive game in terms of kills, of course. The one thing that Pitudos has going for them is, of course, that Black Feather B, the long on point, and then including the fish foods and all of her puddles. That is immense poking potential from Pitudos, and it'll be really hard for Gwen or Petal to engage.
That's right.
But also,
the side of
We want to stay.
yeah, the side of the Chubby Bunnies, like they also understand that. So you can see that they're the one thing that they're using over and over is the Gwen Aces High for that engage. As a gold miner fight breaks out, and the Pitudos actually end up getting that gold miner, but they're able to just burn through the health bar of the Lorelei. Now Kestrel's trying to do as much damage as possible. Kestrel got a little bit out of place there. She attacked a couple of the Bramble seeds, so she also goes down, and no, Fax gets caught out, but now Fax is going to gauge right back onto the Gwen, but it looks like he's going to go down too. That's going to be an ace. Gumpy, was the gold mine worth getting aced for?
I don't think so. That is a big ace minion wave, and that turret will go down. That is a lot of gold, and of course the jungle rotation that is now up, and they will also go down, take the sentry. And I think it was a good move. It was a bold move, I would say. But ultimately, in hindsight, I don't think it was that good. Yeah, they just don't have they lack in the damage, and the ace just they completely lose out on the jungle rotation and the sentry as well.
Yeah, well, it looks like they did not take the sentry, which I can't really understand. D'Anzio recalled there, so perhaps he was recalling to get some items to start the Kraken, and I'm not exactly sure what the reasoning was there to not take that sentry.
Well, regardless, the gold difference is it's getting close to 10k now. This is quite tough for Pitudos. That AFK didn't do them any favors, and it is in fact 10k now. And yeah, it's sad times for Pitudos. It's the chances of winning are decreasing by every second.
Yeah, it's just this one's slipping away from them a little bit. You can't give any of these top tier teams even an inch in 2 minutes of an AFK. It's really unfortunate. You do hate to see it, but right now the side of the Chubby Bunnies is taking the Kraken, and Pitudos is not contesting. They're also not even trying to kind of push the lane or get some map advantage while the Kraken is going down. They're just going to play passive. They're going to try to collect that 1,500 gold and hope that maybe either D'Anzio or Neon overextends and they can try to get maybe a pick here.
Yep, that is correct. Now, if you're on the side of Pitudos, you just want to wait and see if Chubby Bunnies makes a mistake. Right now, they're taking the sentry, so that is the opposite. You want to do this. You want to take the sentry and then rotate up the Kraken. Very well done. And really depends now how well they can stop this push. They have a decent poke comp. They have the Lorelei, the Puddles. They will be huge for keeping them at bay. And the choke point turret also doing a good amount of damage to the Kraken.
Okay, now D'Anzio is completely up. He uses the Aces High. The Crucible was used. It maybe wasn't needed there because the Aces High didn't hit. The Kraken is already down to 1/3 health. They've only poked through the choke point turret. However, the first base turret is going to go down. The Kraken is probably going to be taken immediately after that. The Chubby Bunnies does not want to overextend here. They're just going to go back and sweep through, take the jungle.
I like that decision a lot. That is a very good decision from Chubby Bunnies. With all the bounties that you have on you, you don't want to overextend right now and give them a chance to come back. So that decision right here is very well worth of an applause. That is well done. And now they can again reset, get items, and try for another move.
Well, the Pitudos are trying to be as aggressive as they possibly can. They still haven't. We're almost 15 minutes into this game, and the first turret hasn't gone down. Fax is just already at 3rd health. Those spontaneous combustions are starting to really hurt from the pedal. However, D'Anzio here is just engaging super hard. We have an arcane passage coming through from the Lyra. It's follow through from the pedal. The pedal's on that Kestrel. When a pedal's on you as a Kestrel, it really starts to feel bad. However, the Blackfeather's doing as much damage as he possibly can, but no, they're just too far behind. That was maybe even a little bit messy from the side of Pitudos, but really at this point it was just a gold diff.
Yep, definitely. Gotta say, Chubby Bunnies, they played this cleanly again. They played to the strengths of their own draft. The sustain with the pedal and the Lyra. Just so much team fighting potential, honestly. Great job for them.
Chubby Bunnies.
Viola.
And Pitudos. Chubby Bunnies pick.
Pedal.
Pitudos pick. And Pitudos ban. Five seconds. Chubby Bunnies ban. 10 seconds.
Lance.
And Chubby Bunnies pick. Ten seconds.
Catherine.
Pitudos pick. Ten seconds. And Pitudos, last pick. Chubby Bunnies, round it out for us.
Castro.
Honestly, this is not a draft I could have expected. I think the pedal, that was pretty expected. But I have to mention one hero that went... I think it went through. If we could just quickly look at the
Churnwalker?
draft
Are
again.
we talking about Churnwalker?
Yeah,
Gumpy?
Did Churnwalker just go through the whole draft? Wow, that is very unexpected.
Very unexpected.
Such a strong support. He's immensely strong in threes, honestly. As a support, he can literally take games over. But perhaps they would just want to pick their comfort picks. We see the first pick pedal, you know. The one game where Chubby Bunnies did lose was against Pedal, so perhaps they know that if they just pick Pedal instead, they have higher chances of winning. And so far, it has worked for them. Game one, they picked the petal and they won it as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Uh,
I don't see any weaknesses in that comp. Petal, Catherine, Kestrel. Strong early game, should be strong through the mid game, and the late game is just Kestrel, Catherine are just become absolute monsters.
yep, I have to agree. I'm a bit interested of the Kashka pick because Kashka, we know that she's pretty decent in jungle. However, that she does fall off eventually into the late game. And if you don't snowball with Kashka, then it'll be quite tough to do anything with her at all.
Hmm.
So that is going to be a problem. So I think the draft is favored slightly to the Chubby Bunnies. But if one moment.
All right, we're having a little bit of a K9 technical issue over on one of our caster sides.
All right, sorry about that. Just slightly dog issues. She likes to bark.
No
So
worries.
anyway, so I would favor the draft to the Chubby Bunnies. Uh, just overall very good heroes. It really depends on that Koshka for the Pitudos. They need to get ahead. Starting from level 2, at level 6 with a good power spike, they need to get ahead against the Chubby Bunnies, or that Koshka will fall off, and it'll only depend on the Black Feather in the late game to carry,
Yep.
which is quite a difficult task if you're paired against a Petal and a Kestrel.
Yeah, it's a lot to put on the Blackfeather's shoulders. And also that Blackfeather, it has to be a lane Blackfeather and a lane Blackfeather into a Kestrel. D'Anzio playing Kestrel, that you're gonna have to have some very very high level Blackfeather play to make that work.
Yep, I agree. Overall, I think Pitudos could still win this. They are on their comfort picks. However, yeah, I think it is up to the Chubby Bunnies to play correctly, as they've always done, and just win game 2 and move on to the finals.
Yeah, it is somewhat looking that way. As here we go, we are loaded in. That means that we're just about to jump into game 2. What do you? I'm expecting the Pitudos to kind of just start at their backs and move forward. We know that Koshka just gets a massive level 2 power spike. She's a little bit weaker before that. But after then, who's going to be aggressive in the jungle?
Honestly, since it's a Petal versus Koshka matchup, it's really interesting because both heroes have an immense level 6 power spike. So it really is going to be even on both sides. I think it'll be up to the lane. Whoever lane has prio, whoever has the wave on his side, and whoever can rotate faster from the lane down.
Okay, this is
And
very
that will be the
interesting.
fighting.
They are already doing a level 1 team fight, and they just go directly on to Neon Fire, and it looks like that the Petal's going to kill the Koshka, the Ardent's going to kill the Petal, and now this is just a 2v2. D'Anzio's getting absolutely chunked down by that Blackfeather, and Blackfeather takes out the Kestrel, and now this is just a 1v2. Neko's left absolutely by himself. It looks like he ends up popping his flask, and now the side of the Pitudos is going to have to back off a little bit as the entire side of Chubby Bunnies comes back with full health. But that was a lot of deaths happening when we only had 2 in the first 10 minutes of last game.
Yeah, oh my goodness, that confidence from the Pitudos. They just went in there and said, "No, you're dead right now," and they executed. They got 2 kills off of that. However, the Elder Treant, they did not get due to their low health. Perhaps it was for the better decision. You don't want to give kills back. You don't want to overstay. But 2 kills regardless is a very good start from Pitudos. This is exactly what they want.
Yeah, that was something that we just absolutely weren't expecting to see, but you could see that they're all back, there's no FKs, and one thing that I really like to see here is right now, the Koshka and the Blackfeather are in the backs, taking the jungle together while Arden holds lanes. Meanwhile, D'Anzio is just here in the lane by himself, and now you get a 3-man rotation to the lane, which is about 10 seconds earlier than the rotation from the Chubby Bunnies.
Yeah, we can see here though, both Kestrel, she has 2 points into level 2. There's what you want. You want level 2 Glimmer shots right away. Much more damage, good pressure. But we can also see the Koshka, right? The Koshka level 2, she's really strong, and she is asserting that pressure onto the lane as well. Perhaps you should see more into the jungle as well, as Norman takes a good amount of damage, but I think he will survive.
Yeah, he just face checked that bush, but here we go. We have a huge engage happening onto the Pitudos. That's just a little bit of a misposition. It looks like the Pitudos were deep inside of the enemy jungle, and they just weren't expecting the Chubby Bunnies to rotate down their side of the map. So the Black Feather goes down, and now it looks like the Koshka might also be caught out. Koshka does have a lot of mobility in the jungle. She does end up getting the healer. She's going to try to waste as much time as she possibly can here on the side of Chubby Bunnies. Chubby Bunnies does know how to deal with this. They're rotating through, but Koshka pops her boots activatable, and Fax just dodges a couple of glimmer shots and is going to be able to walk out of that. That was great play from the Koshka after the Black Feather went down.
Really well done, but I gotta say that Petal is also in the enemy jungle taking the farm right now, and this is great work from Neon Fire to understand that the Conquer is really fast and just counter-invade with the jungle and just take the farm instead. So a really good job from Chubby Bunnies there.
Yep, absolutely. They understand like where everybody is on the map. They understood that Koshka was taking their jungle, so Neon Fire just said, "Okay, you take my jungle, I'll take yours," and it all kind of evens out at the end. So I think Chubby Bunnies came out on top there with the extra kill. Yeah. So what are we going to be looking for in the next minute as this gold miner starts to spawn?
We're definitely going to see some more action. We have a Koshka level 6 with her stun, and then of course the Petal with her immense
here we go.
Called.
This is a 3-man engage. Dienzo is getting needs to go shop. He has way too much gold. But Fax was already pretty low. Fax went pretty low against the Koshka. Whoa, shit. Okay, we're just gonna do that. Okay, so Fax already got kind of a little bit low. Like he was trying to engage onto that Petal, and if you're not able to get onto somebody as a Koshka, then especially if it's a Petal, they're gonna be able to chunk you out.
Look at that wave though. There's such a huge wave for the side of Chubby Bunnies, and the turret goes down with no contest whatsoever. That is just superb wave management. Also, the wave stacking, everything is nice for Dienzio there.
Yeah, that's some of that really pro level experience that you see on that team. Is they really understand when to push the wave, when to stack the wave, when he needs to rotate down. This is why Dienzio did end up winning the World Championships back in 2017.
All right, so now we are starting to go into the mid game. Most heroes are getting their level 6s. We see a double CP coming out from Pitudos, so this is something interesting. We have seen double CP before. Dienzio's only lost game has been against double CP comp. However, generally double CP is not preferred because of the shroud item that exists in the game. However, given the heroes, it can work, but it's always not the best of things to have.
Well, one thing that I noticed, I didn't see if Catherine had a Crucible or not, but Dienzio does not have a block. Koshka has a couple of minutes here before she starts to fall off, and she already has her level 6. You see, Dienzio understands. He's going down to buy block as the next item, but Koshka's going to be able to try to catch somebody out and land that stun onto somebody.
Yep, indeed. So, I think we see another fight coming out here.
Yeah, we do have another fight coming out. It looks like just a little bit of poking. Now, Fax is playing maybe a tiny bit passive. It's very, very hard to find an engage when there's all those Bramble Boom seeds on the ground, and they're playing this tight and close to each other.
Yep, so we see more pressure coming out for the lane. Look at that Petal, good damage, but also good Vanguard from Norman G on that Arden. But the Kestrel, so much pressure with her Glimmer shots. The Petal as well.
And there we go. One shot, one kill comes through. Now Arden does end up body blocking. Fax is trying to engage, but no, like the Koshka stun was blocked out from the Crucible by Neko. A very, very clean block there. The healer even goes on to Neon, and with that little healer buff, like he's being able to just stay alive. Now Fax is trying to engage one more time. He's going directly into Dienzio. He knows who he has to engage on. Everybody's low. Papa Loki on that Black Feather tries to go, but Kestrel Glimmer shots are just pumping out the damage. Both Koshka and Black Feather go down. This is turning into a disaster for the side of Pitudos.
Oh man, that was so close. Dienzio with barely a glimmer of health, but in the end, he does make it on top. That is a double kill for him, and he's right back into the game. He's 1,000 gold over the enemy laner. And that is a big deal coming out into the late game once they get the first power spike, the level 8 power spike with the Glimmer shots.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
This is something where that's not who you want those kills to go on to. If you want to give kills away, don't put it onto the Kestrel. If that Kestrel starts to get 2-3 items before you're able to, you're going to be in deep trouble. Those Glimmer Shots plus the basic attacks can just burst you down before you even know what happened to your health bar.
Yep, exactly. So now if we look on the side of Pitudos, right, the Black Feather is still level 7. He wants to get the level 8. So
Oh,
that big
looks
on
like
point.
another
power
fight's
point.
breaking out, Gumpy. I'm sorry, but like Kestrel's just landing down those Glimmer Shots, and every one shot, one kill lands on to the Koshka. Now they're just going to try to siege this turret, but oh my god, the Black Feather on point. That's what you want to see from a CP Black Feather, where he's able to just chunk out health bars.
There we go. That is the level 8 we were just talking about. That on-point level 8 overdrive is exactly what Black Feather needs. We can see the huge amount of poke from safe distance. How much damage he can...
Oh, and there we go. Another fight is breaking out. We're losing the signal just a little bit, but it looks like the side of Pitudos are being extremely passive. Fax is able to just walk away. The fountain comes out from the side of Pitudos, and they're deciding to re-engage. The spontaneous combustions are healing everybody back up, but Petal is just one on point from dying, so she's going to have to back off. Kestrel's also very low, but D'Anzo decides to be extremely aggressive, and it looks like he's able to pop that active camo directly on top of Akashka's head, but Papa Loki on this Black Feather is just standing in the active camo again. Kestrel lands another active camo onto each of the carries, gets 2 kills. They thought they were going to be able to go in and burst down D'Anzo, but instead the side of Chubby Bunnies turned that one right around.
That is really good play from D'Anzo there. He understands his Glimmer Shots, he understands his limits, and he knows how to play with them and around them. And that is very sad from Pitudos. That is so many potential kills onto the Kestrel that are just not connecting, and every time they're just going further and further behind. And that is not what you want with that Koshka. This right now is her time to shine. That mid game is where you want her to be the strongest before she falls off.
Well, Gumpy, perhaps we're seeing just a little bit of nerves from the side of Pitudos, having to play against his team down 1-0. And as Koshka tries to go in, but an active camo lands right on top of her head. D'Anzo does not have a block up, so the Koshka stun lands, and Blackfeather does get the kill on to the Kestrel, but Blackfeather also goes down. Now Petal's going to be able to just chase Norman around the map here. Norman will eventually go down. You don't outrun the Catherine with her stuns, her merciless pursuit, along with the Petal is just trampolining, and he's going to be able to get it. And does the ace come through? It does at the absolute last second.
Oh, barely the ace comes through, but nevertheless, D'Anzo did die. So that is a bounty from him that went on to the side of Pitudos. So I think that was actually sort of worth for Pitudos. That shutdown goal is not to be underestimated at all. And yeah, even though I'm not sure what the goal is, the goal difference, but whatever, I think that bounty is exactly what Pitudos needed to get back into the game.
Yep, that would have been a large bounty, and it also did go onto the Blackfeather, and now we are at a 3.6k gold difference. So it's not monumental, and a CP Blackfeather can be very, very scary. As we see another fight breaking out, the Petal is forced to just throw a spontaneous combustion seed backwards just to kind of get a little bit of disengaged. D'Anzo's holding an infusion in his pocket, throwing out Glimmer Shots. They're trying to get vision control. Perhaps they're going to try to even push. I thought they might push into jungle, but instead they're just going to go up to lane and maybe set up for another gold miner.
Yep, perhaps. They do have the advantage. A gold miner taking now before the Kraken spawns is a good decision. We can see that Pitudos, their win condition is to get that Koshka stun off, and then the Blackfeather can have much space and much damage onto the Kestrel, because that is the one that needs to die first.
And there we go. The Merciless Pursuit does land onto the Arden, so that's going to be... Now, Fax is just going right back in. There's the Gauntlet comes down, and the D'Anzo has a beautiful block, which blocks both the Gauntlets and the stun for the Koshka, but Fax goes right back in, and he goes on top of the Kestrel, and Kestrel does go down. Now the Blackfeather kills the Petal, and this is 2 down for the side of Chubby Bunnies. It's a 1v3 at this point. Fax is low, but you have the Arden there to tank the turret. Catherine is extremely tanky. We're going to be able to see what Papa Loki can do here on this Blackfeather if the bubble comes back up, but it's not going to. Fax goes back in, and that is a clean ace coming from the side of Pitudos. Did we expect to see that, Gumpy?
Oh, honestly, that was such a beautiful team fight from Pitudos. Everything went well, even the juggling of the turret, Arden taking all the damage while they go under the turret, beautifully made, honestly. That Fax on that Koshka going back into the fight at 1 HP, getting the Kestrel down, that is exactly what they needed.
And that was just a beautifully executed team fight. When you had the block from D'Enzio block both the gauntlet and the yummy catnip frenzy from Koshka, I expected that team fight to be completely over, but they just knew their limits, how to re-engage, who needed to tank the damage, and ultimately they pulled out the ace. And now gold is slightly in favor of Pitudos.
Yeah, but definitely. So now Chubby Bunnies has to play more safe. They still have a Kestrel and a Petal. They're pretty solid into the late game. But this is Pitudos, right? That Black Feather, those on points are not going to be any easy task to deal with. As they take in the Sentry, Pitudos with the macro play.
We're going to absolutely see a fight here as the teams are reversed. And there we go. A huge silence comes out from the Catherine. That might just be enough to win the entire team fight. But then the Crucible comes through. The Yummy Catnip Frenzy is blocked. The Black Feather is super, super low. However, they're completely focusing D'Enzio. D'Enzio does get the Fountain to come through. He's still alive. He's down 1 HP. The Petal is also super low, but Koshka's the only one left alive. Not exactly sure what's happening. Koshka's probably going to go down here, but look at this. Somehow the Petal and the Kestrel both go down. Who knows how it happened? Facts on that. Koshka must be just putting in huge amounts of work. The Arden's just making sure that Neko is not able to chase down the Koshka. Koshka, I'm sure, is recalling here. That is another fight going in favor of Pitudos.
Really well done for them. But if we look back at that team fight, it was very back and forth. We can see that excellent engage from Neko. Gotta say, the Catherine in the bush, where the Arden cannot crucible the Catherine with no vision. So that silence went on, beautiful engage. And then, however, the team fight slowly started to go towards Pitudo's side. That Black Feather and the Koshka doing so much. And like D'Enzio on his Kestrel, he can't really go anywhere. So much mortal wounds, the Spellfire, the procs, he can't really go anywhere at all. Well, and I think that is what makes Pitudos win.
Gumpy, I think that Chubby Bunnies is making a little bit of a mistake here. I don't see a single shroud yet.
Yeah, honestly, they prefer the Aegis and the blocks over the shrouds. Probably because of the Koshka ults, because we know that if a Koshka ult does land, and the Gauntlet as well, that is going to be very bad for them. But perhaps they could also pick the second defense item with shrouds. Maybe that is something they could consider.
And here we go. It looks like the teams are setting up, but no, they're everybody's just kind of content to farm here. This is a very, very close one here. How do you think that the teams are going to set up for the Kraken fight?
Right now, Pitudos needs to know that D'Enzio is the one that they need to get onto. Get a lot of on-point poke with the Black Feather, and that Koshka needs to go onto the Kestrel. So much damage from Kestrel, as she does with her Glimmer Shots and her Mist. And I think Pitudos knows that. They know that Kestrel is the one that needs to go down first.
I think that the one team fight that the Pitudos really lost there in that mid game was when both of the carries got stunned out by the active camo from D'Enzio. So if they can just avoid that, I think that they're going to be okay. And look at this macro play. Well, we have the War Treads coming through from the side of Chubby Bunnies. They're trying to engage. The Koshka just goes right in onto Neon Fire, but he goes back out. The Gauntlet gets thrown down. That's not really going to do anything right now. All three ults are still up from the side of Chubby Bunnies. What do you think about this macro play? Here we go. D'Enzio looks like he wants to re-engage. Neko's going in. Papa Loki right on top of that Kestrel. They know who their target is, but now the spontaneous combustions are really starting to heal in a big way. Fax is extremely low. The Fountain comes out for the side of Pitudos. They're going to try to disengage here. Fax goes right back in on top of that Petal. Super low. Papa Loki follows up, but Fax goes down on that Koshka. But the Petal goes down too, so now we have a Kestrel versus a Black Feather. And it looks like Kestrel that's not a fight that she wants to take. And what does that tell us moving forward where Catherine and Kestrel don't feel like they can win against Black Feather and Arden? What does that tell us moving forward, Gumpy?
Excellent team fighting from both. We see how the Koshka, right? She's just there. She goes in, she does a little bit of damage and goes right out. She knows she can't sustain any prolonged fights. And same with the Black Feather. He goes in and then he goes out. So Pitudos, they know how to play this. They know that they cannot spend any major time directly in their face. They need to poke, get in, get out, and that is how they win.
D'Enzio looks like he's itemizing towards a breaking point over the second Tyrant's monocle. That's interesting.
Yeah, we've seen it before. Perhaps just with these prolonged fights, you have a Black Feather, right? So the fights are not gonna last, or you're not gonna be bursted. So perhaps he thinks that with using a breaking point, the fights will take much longer.
Well, we just saw D'Anzio recalled. It looks like the side of Pitudos is just posturing around their half of the map. Everybody's like posturing around that Kraken pit. We're 17 minutes in and we haven't seen a Kraken. Now we're starting to get into the very, very late game. Who do you think gets the advantage as we move into everybody getting their full builds over the next couple of minutes?
I would still have to give the advantage over to Chubby Bunnies just because of that Koshka. The Koshka is not much useful at this point. She will be useful for proccing Aegises with her Koshka ultimate, but other than that, it is really up to the Blackfeather, right? We've talked about this before many times. The Blackfeather is the win condition for their team. He needs to do a lot of damage and to take care of his positioning. He doesn't want to get bursted by Kestrel or Petal, but do a lot of poking damage with his on points, and that'll be the way to win for Pitudos.
Well, we do see Neon Fire with that Shroud, so I believe that the Koshka and the Blackfeather have no choice but to just go directly onto D'Anzio. It's going to take a lot of damage to burst your way through a Shroud as a double CP comp.
Yep, I agree. So Neon doing the right decision there and you that CP. And right now, there's just a little bit of wave management going on. Not too much aggression. Both teams, they're not eager to fight. They want to have the perfect condition to team fight. They know that this could potentially be the game-ending move, whoever wins this. So they want to make sure that everything is perfect. They want to engage at the most right time.
Okay, well, we have a 2,000 gold lead on the side of Pitudos that shouldn't matter too much at this point. Everyone is almost full build. The Vanguard barrier is just so massive onto that Blackfeather. That's like a 600 health barrier at this point.
Yeah, I gotta mention the Arden, very useful at this point in game. But I think that on the Catherine of Neko, if she gets a silence off in a bush where there's no vision, I think that could even be the key. A really good silence here from the Catherine, especially at level 3, when the silence is just, 3 seconds long, is really strong.
That's
and
right.
If they can get that engage off,
looks like just
then
a little
Pitudos
bit.
could be losing.
Looks like just a little bit of poking back and forth. Both teams understand that, as you said, this next team fight is going to decide everything. And the Catherine Pulse Weave is down. It's going to be down for about another 30 seconds. Fax decides to go in. Look at a Blast Tremor lands. It's a 3-man silence, but there's no follow-up. Neko goes in and just gets a stun, but now Fax is extremely low on the Koshka. Koshka tries to go for the Yummy Katniss Frenzy. It does not land. Fax is extremely low, trying to do just a tiny bit of damage. The Ardent Gauntlet comes out. D'Anzio extremely super low, but he does end up living, and there's the one-shot, one-kill. It does connect onto the Blackfeather, not who you want to connect down to. Petal's going to try to follow. D'Anzio's probably just going to take this healer and try to go right back in. But instead, he understands that he's super low, and if he gets engaged on by that Blackfeather, then it's going to be dangerous. However, the Petal is just going in, and the Vanguard lands directly on top of the Blackfeather. Those barriers are absolutely huge, but the Arden also goes down in just 20 seconds until the Koshka comes up. That team fight was played maybe just a little bit better from the side of Chubby Bunnies.
Yeah, I gotta see Koshka going down first again. She's just not as useful, even though Fax is brilliantly doing very well on the Koshka. It's just the limits of the hero in that late game. But gotta say that D'Anzio got really low at the team fight there, and that one missed on point from Blackfeather could have changed the outcome immensely. D'Anzio could have very well gotten down, or just even killed at the very end of the team fight.
Yep, and you know what? I almost want to see an even harder engage from the side of Pitudos, where they just go in super hard onto D'Anzio and say, you know what, we're either going to die or we're going to kill D'Anzio. Because if you kind of go in and try to poke a little bit, but once if you're not able to burst through D'Anzio's health bar, he's just going to be able to output damage, especially with that breaking point. And here we go.
I think another fight is...
Neko is going in. Arden is just giving free stacks onto D'Anzio. He's just stacking up completely, and now a hard engage is coming through once that first turret goes down. The Blast Tremor lands again. He's got to start blocking that silence, but then a block comes out a moment after the Bramble Boom Seeds and the Spontaneous Combustions are putting on a lot of damage. The Choke Point turn also goes down. Chubby Bunny says that's enough, and they back off.
Yep, I actually like that decision as well. Chubby Bunnies really, they know when to back off. This is a good decision. Neko has no energy on that Catherine. And also that Kraken, right? It is not at full health anymore. So after you take that choke point turret, it is almost always a better decision to back off, reset, get full energy, get full health, infuse again, and go for another team fight.
Well, Gumpy, what's the win condition for the side of Pitudos here? How are they going to be able to engage onto that Kestrel, who's the only one, I might add, who does not have a shroud?
I think they need to be very coordinated here. They also need to make sure that the silence is blocked from Neko. Being in those bushes, that silence is so important. And if a good silence, as she's always been doing, then I think, yeah, Pitudos needs to have that blocked if they want to have a chance.
There we go. We see a minor mispositioning error from Fax. Now, Fax goes right on back in. He does force to use his flask. And there we go. The pedal instantly kills Fax. That was just a mispositioning error. Dienzio is just pumping out damage on the back line. Neon is going through and trying to take the Blackfeather. Blackfeather is completely caught out on the wrong side of the map here. Norma's going to come back in and try to save him, but at least one of them is going to go down. Perhaps Blackfeather's even going to turn around and try to start up this fight again. But no, if he's smart, he should just back off. The Arden goes down, just chased down. You hate to see that. They took advantage from a tiny mispositioning error, turned, and Fax was out of the game 2 seconds later.
Yep, it's the same thing every single time, right? We've been saying this again and again, but that Koshka, right? She's always the one dying first. Evil Loki, though, on his Blackfeather, he's doing damage. That Petrol is going down in health. It's just not enough. They need that perfect engage. It's always Chubby Bunnies doing the engaging and having their position favored. If Pitudos really wants to have this win, they need to make that first decision into their favor.
Yeah,
that Kestrel just so much damage.
I would like to see the Koshka and the Blackfeather just engage at exactly the same time onto that Kestrel. It can't just be one of them going in at one time.
They have to make sure about the Kestrel's missed. They want to play around the Catherine stun, the pedal ultimates as well with the slows, and the Kestrel. Right? They have it's literally a minefield. If you're on Pitudo's team.
It looks like another little fight is breaking out. Now there we go. That blast tremor was blocked, so that silence is not down. Everybody's still alive. Norman tries to engage onto the Kestrel. I want to see Blackfeather's doing exactly the right thing. Here they go. All three of them are engaging on the slow attacks are happening on Dienzio, so like that was not blocked. That ended up going off on him, and now the Kraken just took down a single turret, and that's all they're going to get from it. Nobody dies, but that's one more turret going down for the side of Pitudos.
That was really entertaining. Team fight as well, everything going well. You see Dienzio blocking the Atlas over everything else, and then have your support block the Koshka ultimates in the gauntlet instead. So good team fighting from them. But again, right, they understand the amount of pressure that the Blackfeather and Koshka can give from a Pitudos, so they decide to back off again because they just want that one engage. They don't want to mess up right now when any big ace can just seal the game right away.
Yep, that's right. And well, I think gold difference means absolutely nothing at this point. Every single hero in the game is completely full build. If anyone builds anything else, I would almost expect to see Koshka maybe build a little more tank. But another fight is breaking out. No, it's just looked like Catherine's just kind of keeping them at bay while Dienzio and Neon Fire are just sharing a little bit of gold in lane.
We can see that the jungle priority is towards Chubby Bunnies again. They have that vision, they have the scout trap right there. They feel safe right now. They are looking for that engage again. Maybe with the Catherine with the blast tremor. Do we see it? Yes, we do.
And there we go. The blast tremor lands the 3-man silence, and now Fax is half health before the fight even starts. Everybody is going on to Dienzio. Dienzio does end up blocking the Yummy Catnip Frenzy. The Atlas does land onto all of the members of the side of the Chubby Bunnies. Everybody's still alive at this point, but they're going to keep on chasing him down. Fax is just a single hit from dying, and there we go. It looks like Kestrel does get that hit. A single basic attack brings down, and now it's the Blackfeather and the Arden. They're going to try to burst through this base before the recalls can come through, and Blackfeather is able to get back and defend this. Dienzio is just basic attacking, and this Crystal's so weak in threes, it goes down, and that is a 2-0 victory going over to the side of Chubby Bunnies.
Oh man, what a good game, honestly. 69 the score, amazing, honestly. What can I say? Dienzio's team, Chubby Bunnies, they played that really well. They blocked all the Koshka ults, brilliant engage from the silence, the blast tremor as well. And that all of this combined is what won them the game.